Good morning and welcome to reviewing for our surface area of rectangular prisms and cylinders. So today we're going to review, so this is just practice watching all the different problems for the test that we have coming up this Thursday. So the first one is the rectangular prism. So we're going to work 4 different ones. Okay, so for surface area, we're really trying to find the area of all 6 sides of this image. So it's 2 times the length times the width. So that would be like the bottom and the top. That's why there's 2. Take the length times the height. That's the front of this image. And there's the front and the back. So there's 2 of those. Plus the width times the height. So width and height, you're finding the area of this side. And there are 2 of them, so it's this side and this side. Another way that you could write the formula, sometimes you'll see it written this way, where you do the length times the width, plus the length times the height, plus the width times the height, and then multiply that by 2. So you're finding the bottom, the front, and the side, and then you know that there's 2 of each of those. So I prefer to use this formula. Either one will work. I'll do one of each so you can see it. So looking at my first rectangular prism, okay, I have a length of 7 5/10. I have a width of 2 and the height of 4. So knowing our formula, 2 times the length, so for L, 7 5/10, times the width, so for L, you're going to put this in there, in both of those spots. For W, you're going to put the 2. And for the H, the height, you're going to substitute the 4. So 2 times length times width plus 2 times length times height plus 2 times width times height. Okay, so now that I've substituted all of those in there, we are going to do order of operations. So remember, with order of operations, we multiply. So we're going to multiply that. We're going to multiply this group. And then we're going to multiply this group. And when we do that, then we add those 3 together because we multiply and then we add. So 2 times 7 5/10 times 2 gives us 30. Then length, 2 times length times height, or 2 times 7 5/10 times 4 gives us 60. And then the third group, 2 times width times height. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 16. Finish it off, we add. 30 plus 60 is 90. 90 plus 16 is 106. And because we're finding area, it's going to be units squared. Okay, so let's try the next one. This time I'm going to use this formula to show you in case you prefer it. So the length times the width is the bottom. The length times the height is this side, and the width times the height is this front face of the box. And then there's a 2, because there's the front and the back, the left and the right side, the top and the bottom. So 2 times length times width. I have my length, my width, and my height. So I have 5.1 times 4, put it like that, plus length times height plus width times height. And then put those in brackets, and then I'm going to multiply all of that by 2. So 5 1/10 times 4 is 20 4/10. plus 5 1/10 times 9 is 45 9/10 plus 4 times 9 is 36. So again, remember that these brackets are like large parentheses. So we want to do what's in there first before we multiply by 2. So adding those all together, we come up with 102 3/10, and then we're going to multiply that by 2. So we come up with 204 6/10 centimeters. Because it's area, it's going to be squared. So either of those two ways of using the formula is going to be correct. It's just whichever one you prefer. Okay, so looking at another one, if you'd like to pause the video, try it on your own, and then watch me work it out, that would be good to see how you do. So we have length, width, and height. So W is replaced with 3, the length is replaced with 7, and the H, the height, is replaced by 12. So again, I'm using this formula. Okay, you don't need to memorize it, it'll be given to you on your test. So I have 2 times length times the W, the width, plus 2 times the length times the height, plus 2 times the width times the height. Again, order of operations, we're going to multiply each section first. Be careful if you're just typing this all in a calculator. Some calculators work a little bit better with order of operations. 2 times 7 times 3 is 42. Bring down my plus sign. 2 times 7 times 12 is 168. Bring down your plus sign. 2 times 3 times 12 is going to be 72. And then the last step is to add all of those together. And we come up with a surface area of 282 meters squared. So hopefully that's what you got. If you did not, go ahead and practice again. Okay, looking at this one again, I will do this formula for you, for those who like it better. We have a length, a width, and a height. So we have 2 outside of the large parentheses. I'm actually going to use brackets. Length times width, 7 times 4, plus length times height, 7 times 12, plus width times height, 4 times 12. Okay, and I'm going to put the big brackets so that they kind of look different from the parentheses. Okay, so order of operations, do what's in the large brackets first. So we're going to multiply. 7 times 4 is 28. I'll put my big brackets with the 2 so I don't forget it. Plus 7 times 12 is 84. Bring down your plus sign. 4 times 12 is 48. Bring down the bracket, or the large parenthesis. Okay, add what is inside of those parentheses or brackets first. Oops, I multiplied them. It's not going to give me the right answer. Okay, so when I do what's inside first, because remember, brackets are just like parentheses, so we got to do this first. I come up with 160 times, bring down the 2, and we come up with 320, and that would be inches squared. Okay, moving on to cylinders. Cylinders seem to be a little bit more complicated. Surface area is 2 times pi times the radius squared, so remember there, the radius is where people get confused, plus 2 times pi times the radius times the height. Okay, so we need the radius and we need the height from our shape. Okay, we already know that pi is represented by 3.14. So again, filling in what we know, first of all, the radius is half of the circle on the top. So the radius is going to be 5, so we're going to use 5 for r. And the height, how tall, is 15. So using my formula, writing it out, 2 pi, remember this is all multiplied, 3.14, radius squared, so that's 5 squared, plus 2 times pi times radius times height. Okay, so the big clue here is to make sure that this radius is squared, this radius is not. So we have to do order of operations where we multiply. Okay, remember 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. Okay, so we're going to use 25 there when we're multiplying. Why is it not? There, we're getting autofocus. There we go. Okay, so 2 times 3.14 times 25 is 157. Bring down our plus sign. Okay, so remember this one, the radius is not squared. We're going to keep it 5. 2 times 3.14 times 5 times 15 gives us 471. And then last step is to add. We get 628, and again, because its area is feet squared. Okay, so looking at the next one, looking at the pineapple juice can, it is a cylinder. This time we notice that the diameter is 6. That's the whole way across. But I just need half. So remember, the diameter is 6. 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. So my radius is going to be 3. So this is what I'm going to use for r. And then here is my height. So making sure that you realize that. That's another one of the biggest mistakes. So 2 times 3.14 times radius squared. Our radius we said was 3, so it's going to be 3 squared plus 2 times pi for radius. Again, we're going to put the r as 3 and then the height as 9. So order of operations, again, says we multiply. So remember that 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. So here you're going to use 9. 2 times 3.14 times 9 gives me 56 and 52 hundredths, plus 2 times 3.14 times 3 times 9 is 169 and 56 hundredths. Add those two together. You get 226 and 8 hundredths. Our units is centimeters, so centimeters squared. Okay, 2 more. So here we have a can of cereal. So this one is very similar. We have the diameter, the entire distance across. So if the diameter is 6, we want half. Doesn't matter which half, they're the same on both sides. So the radius is going to be 3. And then our height is going to be 12. So again, using the same formula that's given, 2 times pi radius squared, remember we said a radius was 3, so 3 squared, plus 2 times pi times the radius. Radius again we said was 3 times the height of our can, which is 12. So again, first thing we need to remember is that radius squared, so 3 squared, 3 times 3 is 9. So you're going to be using 9 when you multiply those. So order of operations, we multiply 2 times 3.14 times 9 is 56 and 52 hundredths. Bring down our plus sign. Multiply 2 times 3.14 times the 3 times the 12. So again, we're multiplying all of these. 226 and 8 hundredths. And then as we've been doing, the last step is to add those two sides together. We come up with 282 and 6 tenths. Our units are inches, so that would be inches squared. Okay, so again, I would highly have suggested that you pause, work these out, and then compare your work to mine for our test on Thursday. Okay, looking at this one. Again, another diameter all the way across, so I need half of 3. So the diameter is 3. Remember, you have to do 3 divided by 2 to get our radius. So our radius is 1.5. I'm going to circle it to help me remember it. Cross that out so I don't accidentally use the 3. And then the height is going to be 5. Okay, so 2 times 3.14. Radius is 1.5 squared plus 2 times 3.14 times 1.5 times our height, which we said was 5. Okay, so again, 1.5 squared is 1.5 times 1.5. Okay, 2.25 or 2 and 25 hundredths. Okay, order of operations. Do each set separately and then add them together last. So 2 times 3.14 times, remember it's 2.25. Hang on, hit the wrong button. 2 times 3.14 times 2.25. Okay, so we come up with 14 and 13 hundredths. Bring down the plus sign. 2 times 3.14 times 1.5 times 5 gives me 47 and 1/10. Last step to add those two together. And we come up with 61 and 23 hundredths. Our units are centimeters, so we do centimeters squared because it's area. So again, there's 4 examples worked through. Hopefully that helps you see how to do surface area. We'll be working today and tomorrow and have a test on Thursday. Please reach out if you need help and are confused and not coming up with the correct answers.